So I actually want to invite you to have a tool that I created, right, when it comes to time management. And this tool is my workbook called Time on Your Terms. And it's just that simple. It is helping you learn to create more time and use your time on your own terms. It's a very simple, powerful workbook that's not just going to give productivity tips and tricks. Really, the purpose of this workbook is to help change your mind so the transformation, the change that you're looking for is long lasting. I really focus more in this workbook on using your personal values to help manage your time versus you, again, just making a to-do list, having productivity hacks. Because like I've said before, there are so many videos on YouTube. There's so much information about productivity. If that was all that was necessary, you would have been able to manage your time better at this point, right? You've probably watched all the It Girl videos, that girl, this girl, all them things. You've probably watched all of that, but it's just not working. So now it's more of a transformational shift in the mind, getting in the mindset of how can I actually manage my time that's a best fit for me, that is sustainable for me. So I invite you to go on the website, luxurystateofmind.com. You will find the Time on Your Terms on the website. Again, Time on Your Terms, once you purchase, it will be sent automatically to your email, or you can actually click the link in the description of this podcast and I'll have the product there so you can easily purchase it. It's just a simple, powerful tool that's really going to help you get on the way to managing your time better. Welcome to the Luxury State of Mind podcast, where we focus on intentionally crafting a life that feels tailor-made for you. On each episode, you'll learn how to create luxury in your everyday life and celebrate the uniqueness that is you. I'm your host, Damio Shodi, and I'm excited to help you develop a luxury state of mind. Hey there, welcome back to the Luxury State of Mind podcast. I'm your host, Damio Shodi, and on this show, my goal is to help you live in luxury every single day of your life. So luxury on the Luxury State of Mind podcast is not dependent upon where you grew up, how much money you have in your bank account today, what job you have, what Louis Vuitton bag you don't have or do have. My form of luxury and what I talk about on this podcast is you can live in luxury today based off of 3 principles. First one being identity. Second one being intentionality, and then third one being freedom of choice. And if you are new to the podcast and you have no idea what I'm talking about, I invite you to listen to episode 2 where I break all of these principles down into more detail. But what you can also do is listen to this little snippet of what it means. So basically, you become more aware of who you are, like who you truly are as a person. I believe that you know your identity through Christ. I believe that's the first step. But then he helps to open your mind and open your vision to see you for you. Who are you? What are the standards that you want to live your life by? What are the values that you want your life to model? What is it that you desire? Who are you? What have you been called to do here on this earth? What are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? That's all within identity. Then as you become more clear, and it's a journey to become more clear on this, you become intentional about what you're doing to make sure that you become the person that you feel like you're called to. So what people are you hanging around? They're helping you, they're not helping you. What are your food choices? What are your time management skills, which we're going to talk about today? What are all these things that will help you get to where you want to get to? And then number 3, empowered to make choices. So freedom of choice. You're empowered to make choices despite of external pressures, issues, all these things that may want to keep you to where you thought you were, the person you thought you used to be, but is not going to elevate you to where you know you're called to be. So in all of those things, it only requires the mind, because once you're able to get your mind right, then the actions will follow. And what fuels that is vision. What fuels the ability to make changes is not just doing more hard work. Because baby, when they say that's been I have fallen into that trap, it is not about doing more. It's about becoming more, because you are more aware of who you actually are. So on this podcast, I love talking about wants, desires, and things that you desire, because it's so easy to just be like, you know, it is what it is. Like, this is how life is. This is how it's always been. This is what they said it is. And this is what the culture is saying. And TikTok, they said this and blah, 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 blah. Okay. But I'm on a mission that you will know who you are, know what you desire in your heart, and then be able to do the things that will allow you to have that, to become the person who can have that. So with that being said, we are continuing our talk on time management. So I know that 2025 is your year, okay? It's clear. 2025 is your year, okay? I don't know if you've heard that. Maybe I made it up. I did. But 2025 is your year. You've already said it to everybody. This is going to be my year. You're going to see real me. That's what you've been telling people. You've told yourself that. But I promise you, if you are not aware of how to manage your time, the beginning of 2025 may look like the end of 2025. They may be the same, or the end of 2025 may look the same as the beginning of 2025. And that's not what we want. This year, we're transforming. We are moving forward. And a way to do that is through time management skills. So today, we're going to discuss some myths. We're going to discuss 4 reasons why how you're currently managing your time is actually causing you to burn out. Literally, you see this title and you're like, girl, because it's just like, you don't understand. I'm doing it all. I'm trying. Or you've done all this in your mind before you've actually done anything. And it's also, you're just even tired. You're like, I don't even want to. But because I know that you are a woman who wants to transform, I know that you see a better future for yourself. I know that you want to not only just learn tools and skills, but a transformed mind so you can become the person who has what it is that you want. So we're going to talk about these 4 myths. The first one that we just need to debunk, like we need to throw it in the trash today, is if you say this to yourself, after you listen to this episode, throw it in the trash. I function best under stress. I get things done better when I'm under pressure. Dang, I didn't even realize that rhymed. Let me read that to you again. I function best under stress. I get things done better when I'm under pressure. My dear, it is a lie. Let me tell you something. You've trained yourself and your mind to believe that this is the way you have to live. You have trained yourself to believe it. Okay? You've trained yourself, maybe through culture, maybe you come from a culture like myself that they love stress and pressure. Everything, stress. I'll give you a perfect example. When we want to plan parties, Nigerian parties, right? And if you're a Nigerian, you understand where I'm about to go with this. Everybody seems to be a party planner. It's like you just came out of the womb and then you became because you were of Nigerian descent, you're a party planner. So all your aunties and everybody will be planning a party, but everybody will be stressed. They wake up since 4 a.m. to go and boil the meat, to make the food, to cook the stew, and it's chaotic. Especially if you're cooking in the garage of somebody's house, catering for a party of 200-300 people. But it's like, I be thinking like, why didn't you just call like a party planner or something? Y'all got the money. All y'all got like 5 jobs and are your nurses, your doctors, or whoever you are. Like, why not just get somebody to do it? But nobody can do it the way I can do, right? So as a culture, everybody believes they're a party planner. Everybody believes that they can cater. So then when it's time for something that's supposed to be enjoyable, a time of celebration, it's full of stress, heightened emotions, even anger at sometimes. You're just like, well, dang, like, I'm just trying to have a good time at this party that y'all plan for me. But I digress. Culture may be a reason as to why you believe this. You've seen this growing up, so you just adopted it as your truth. And then also it's a learned behavior. Maybe, I brought this up in the last episode that you've learned this in school. You were the type that waited to the last minute, but you always came through. Like, you just always came through. Maybe you even got the top grades in your class, but you literally only started the assignment the night before, or you did an all-nighter and you are used to doing all-nighters. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did an all-nighter one time in college and I said never again. I only did it because I don't even know why I did it. But I just told myself, I don't need to live this life. I'm not doing this. I don't know how y'all are doing this. I'm not doing it no more. Okay. So you may be like, I function best under stress. I get things done better when I'm under pressure. But I just want to offer you an alternative. Do you know that life actually doesn't have to be that way? Would it be crazy to think that I can actually have a life of ease? I can still get things done without all this burden and stress motivating me? Is it possible? Can you even envision it? Can you even close your eyes and think about it? Have you experienced a world in that way? The good thing is, what you decided before does not have to be your future. Who you were coming into 2025 does not have to be who you are later on in life and who you're going to be by the end of the year. You can retrain your brain to live with ease, to breathe easy. Just to breathe easy. Be easy. You can retrain your brain to do that. And a way that you do this is that you anticipate your needs before you need it. And that's the beauty of managing your time. You anticipate what you will need before you need it. So you make a plan to do the things necessary so that the reward is ease. See, when you're under when you're under pressure and stress, that's the press. What happens is you've trained your brain to, like, okay, so for example, you have an assignment that's due. I mean, let's say you have an assignment at work, because we working now. You have an assignment at work that's due on this day. But the thought of doing that assignment, it triggers you. It's like, I can't stand it to keep giving me that gosh darn thing. Like, it's so irritating. Oh my gosh. So you feel that stress. That's a trigger. Then you try to find a way that will alleviate that trigger and that stress. So you procrastinate. You wait. And you wait and you wait, because at that moment, if you decide, I don't want to work on this, then you just have more ease. It's like, oh, well, at least I have this temporary relief. But now you've positioned your brain to keep thinking in that way, like, okay, well, just wait. And then now the cycle starts all over again. Now you're stressed again. So you have to now work really hard, but you got it done. And then it starts again. Something else is going to come up that's really important to you that needs to get done. And then, I don't want to do it. I need to relax. And then the cycle continues over and over and over again. But what if the result that you get from doing your task is you actually get more peace and more ease? What if? Let's paint the picture of, you have a flight that's coming up. And this is actually something that I do. Let me tell you something. I don't do stress when I travel. I minimize stress as much as possible because I anticipate my needs. I anticipate what I would need and how I want to feel when the situation arrives. How do I want to feel? I envision it. So let's say maybe before you've been the type that you're the last one. They're calling your name every time. You don't even check in before you get there. You're just the last one. They're even threatening to close the door in your face, and you're like prying the door open. You dare me? I'm gonna get on this plane. Well, it's because you got to the airport 15 minutes before your flight was about to take off, and you've just been doing that thing. But what if, alternate universe, it's like, I know I'm going to be leaving on a flight on Thursday. It's like Monday right now. What would make me feel at ease so I can enjoy myself? It's like, okay, I can probably make a list of the different things that I need and just throw them in the suitcase, like here and there, just to make sure that I have everything, so that when I'm at the airport and then when I'm at my destination, I have everything. So I'm throwing stuff in the air in my suitcase. Okay, I know that the airport's like, I don't know, 45 minutes from my house. I should probably call an Uber if I have no one to take me, or maybe ask my spouse, my friend, or an Uber to get here at this time, so that when I get to the airport, all I need to do is check in. I already got my TSA pre-check. Mind you, I can actually check in on my phone ahead of time. They actually give me the opportunity to check in 24 hours. So I guess, like, as long as I check in before, I'll be good. Okay, Uber's picked me up. I'm feeling good. I'm here, I'm driving, I'm listening to my music, I'm watching a YouTube video, I'm listening to Luxury State of Mind podcast. Like, I am living life. Okay, I get to the airport, I drop my bags, they say hello to me, I show my ID, I smile because I ain't stressed. Bag is underweight, we're good. Go to the gate, and oh, you know what? I really want a latte. I really want to drink from Starbucks. That would be really nice. Okay, so I'm gonna get my favorite latte. And you know what? I do have this book that I want to read. I'm gonna just sit down and read the book. I'm gonna drink my latte and I'm gonna read the book. And oh, they're calling my gate. Oh, look at me. I'm right in the front. To some of you, you're like, what are you talking about? What do you mean by that? But that's how I live my life. I ain't gonna hold you. I don't like stress. How I plan to make sure I can not have the stress is I anticipate what I need before, because I've set a vision out that, okay, this is how I want to feel. This is what I want to experience in this particular experience. What do I need to do in order to get there? So a reason why you may be struggling with time management is you've convinced yourself you function better under stress. But I want to encourage you today that you can retrain your brain to not be moved by stress, but to be motivated by ease. Motivated by, I'll have more time. Motivated by abundance. Here's a little pro hack or productivity hack. If you work a 9-to-5 job and you have a product or project that you want to do after work, right? And it feels like you just don't have time. What you can do is let that, whatever it is that you want to do, or maybe you have a class that you want to take after work, let that be the goal of your day. Let that be the top of mind. Okay, when I get off work, I want to do this. So what do I need to do to make sure that I get whatever I need to get what do I need to do in order to get what I am doing at work done so that I can? So thinking of it as so I can have versus I don't have enough. What can I do so I can have? And I tell you, you not influenced to do whatever you're doing at your job. You're like, man, I can't stay in this place. It's boring me. Da, 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 da. Girl, think about what it is that you want to do and let that be your motivation. And you make sure that you get what you need to get done so you have the time to get what you want to get. So you anticipate your needs of the future. So that's number one. Let go of I function better under stress. It's not working for you, I promise. The second myth that we need to just let go in this year, this one is I have to have a strict schedule and each hour planned to be productive. Maybe that's what you heard growing up. Maybe that's what you've been doing. But honestly, you are irritated. If you hear about another time management hack, tool, productivity, you are tired. You were burnt out because you feel like you have to be so strict and I have to plan and I have to do this. But you know what's crazy? You may have never even done it before. It may even be in your mind, but you've not actually planned the hour out and done all those things. And it's already frustrating you before you can even take action to do whatever it is that you want to do. So I want to just free you. I want to free you today that you do not have to plan every hour of the day to be productive. Depending on where you are in life, there's different ways of scheduling and doing all these things, right? So it may work for somebody, but clearly for you it's not working. So we can let that go. We can scrap that. Let me let you breathe a little bit easier. If you really want to be on your time management game, you really want to get some good skills in time management so you can start living a life that feels fulfilling to you, is you need to learn prioritization skills. You need prioritization skills. You don't need hour by hour planning. You need prioritization. And here's a quick way to learn how to prioritize. You know how all of us love to write a long to-do list. I don't know where we learn it from. Maybe it's commercials or school, but we write every single thing that we have to do today. And maybe it's, things we have to do at work. I don't know where we get it from, but we write down our list of 10 different things that I'm going to accomplish on this day. Even looking at the list, even if you have your list in front of you right now, you're like, dang, that's a lot of stuff on my list. But let me tell you something. A hack or a way to manage your time better is to just Pick 1 to 3 things that are top priority for you. How do you know what's a top priority for you? What is it that you will do that will push you forward to where you want to go? And that's why I talk about the identity piece. It's a matter of vision. When you think of where it is that you want to go, what can I do today, the little that I can do today that will keep me on the path to where I want to go? What will push my life forward? This is something that I actually ask myself constantly. What are the 1 to 3 things that I need to do that will push me forward? So it's not well, I hope I get it done. It's I am an active participant in my planning because I know what it is that I want to do. And this is the things that I can do where I'm at right now. So what are those 1 to 3? An example could be taking a 30-minute walk. Once you know you've done that, you feel like you've succeeded. If you can at least even just do the one thing, what is the one thing that you can do today that will let you know that, man, I feel successful? That's how you can figure out what your prioritization is. I feel successful. Is it taking a walk? Is it taking your child to the movies? Is it creating more time and space for your spouse? Is it planning your content, but being specific about the content that you want to plan, or going to this networking event, or again, taking that 30-minute walk? What is it? What are those things that will help you? So only focus on the top 1 to 3. And let the number one thing that you do be that thing that's like, okay, I got to do this. Could it be spending your time with God, like having time to read your word? Like, what is it? So prioritization, because this is how you're able to get more things done in less time. When you can prioritize what is that thing that will push me forward, you'll realize you're able to focus on it. You're able to do it effectively. And because it's something that it's like compounding over time, you'll realize that your results are exponential. And you've spent less time on it than if you are busying yourself with just things to do. Not everything needs to be done today. Not everything needs to be done right now, because we're leaving quality prioritization work, quality work for busyness. And that is not how a luxury-minded woman thinks. We think about things that help us move forward in the best way possible. So if you have been just doing hoop-de-hoops in your mind, like I got to manage my schedule hour by hour, I got to be strict, I want to encourage you today, let it go. Focus on prioritization. Okay, third myth that I'm telling you, you've got to let it go, darling. You've got to let it go, okay? Third myth that is causing you to burn out when it comes to time management is, I'm a go with the flow type of person. I don't really like planning. Maybe you've adopted that mindset. Like, I'm just a type A, B. I don't even understand all those things, but I'm this type of person. So I don't like to plan. I did a test that told me I don't like to plan. So that's just who I am. But I want to push back on that. Is it possible that you don't like to plan and you don't like to manage, or not that you don't like to, but you don't see the value or understand the value of time management because you're afraid that, okay, if I make a plan for something, let's say I write out 8 things that I want to achieve, and then I'm only able to achieve 2 that day, then what does that say about me? Am I a failure? Is it possible that whatever ideal you have in your mind of what you think you should accomplish, you're not able to accomplish it, so it tells something about who you are, so then you just minimize your efforts altogether. So you may have shot for the moon, but you landed on the stars, and that's just not good enough for you. So now you've convinced yourself, well, I'm gonna go with the flow type of girl. Like, I don't really, do this. I don't really do that. I don't really, I just kind of go with how I feel. Then you are actually living in this concept of the gap. So there's this concept of the gap versus the gain. This is actually something that Dr. Benjamin Hardy, the author of 10X is better than 2X, shared in that book. And it actually was eye-opening for me because a coach was the one who actually helped me understand that, babes, you are living in the gap because for some reason You can never acknowledge the efforts that you've done today. This is what he says when it comes to the gap. He said, the gap is a lens by which you measure what is against what could be. In the gap, you're measuring yourself what is against what you believe should be. So, and what this looks like is ideals of what life should be, what I should be doing, what I could have done. I didn't finish this, and therefore, because I didn't do it, I am this. And you're constantly in a feeling of frustration. And this is where I used to be, constantly frustrated, constantly chasing after an ideal that was probably made because I saw people online. Most likely because I saw people online and I thought I had to be like them, or I'm trying to figure out how did they get there and I want to get like them, and oh, look at them, they're just doing so great. So I'm constantly chasing this ideal, but not acknowledging what I have done today that is pushing me forward. So you find yourself, if you are living in the gap, you constantly find yourself upset and frustrated that you're not where you want to be. So you've decided that it's easier to settle versus just getting your hopes up and missing your perceived mark. So a lot of things that we tell ourselves that, oh, I'm just this person, I'm that person, sometimes they are actual qualities of who you are, but sometimes they're learned behaviors that you've used to protect yourself. And I'm going to even not say it's who you are, because you'll realize like certain situations will push you to become somebody that you never knew that you were. So if you find yourself constantly frustrated, or you found yourself constantly frustrated, and then now how you've been able to let that go is by just telling yourself, well, you guys are just too strict. Like, I don't manage my time like that. Like, I just kind of go with the flow. Like, y'all can have them planners if you want to, but personally for me and my household, we just go with the flow. But I want to give you an alternative perspective. You may be a person that's more relaxed, right? You're not somebody who manages your time. And again, this is for that woman who is tired of doing things the way that they've been doing it. So you're eager to have a new way of thinking when it comes to your time management skills, so you can see the things that you want to see. So here's a quote by John Maxwell. He has this concept of the rule of 5. And from what I've seen, it's this concept of 5 habits that you need to do per day, 5 things that you will do every day that will help you get to where it is that you want to go, or become the person. Become the person that you want to become. So he has this quote where it says, to cut a huge tree in your backyard, simply swing an axe 5 times at the tree every day until it falls. So with that, and how I understood that is, you take a little action, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was about to make the sound, but you hit that tree, whatever that is for you, whatever that goal is for you, whatever that dream is for you, you do a little towards that every day, or whatever time you plan to do it. You do a little bit until it falls, until you see what it is that you want to see. So don't think of time management in the sense of it's for those type of people. I don't plan anymore because, I tried it in the past. It's not working for me. Here's a new way of thinking. Think of time management as a way of compound interest, of being an investor. You're an investor. And how you manage your time is how you are planting seeds, sowing seeds into your future. So think of time as the seeds, and how you allocate those seeds will determine the harvest that you will receive in the future. So maybe today you plant 2 seeds, you plant 5 seeds, but you're planting seeds nonetheless. And you're doing actions little by little every day so that you achieve the result that you want. And what's so funny? And I'm going to talk about this definitely in another future podcast. I told people that how I was able to transform my body and how it looks was by walking. And people by walking? Because we're used to always doing hard things all the time and then burning out quickly and then just not continuing. We're used to that pattern. I wanted to change that. And I said to myself that, you know what, I'm going to do something completely different. Again, transformation of an identity. I don't need to do always hard things. to have a result. I can start from the basics. I can start small. And literally by me walking every day, I did a 30-day challenge. I walked. That built the foundation for me to then work out. So there's this woman I follow on YouTube called Grow With Joe. So when I say I was walking, I would walk outside, but then it was in winter time. So I would do her like stuff inside, and I would do her dance videos and all this stuff and have a good old time. But to me, I was like, I'm going to play the long game. I am not trying to rush the process here. I'm not trying to force anything. I'm not trying to get a new body in 3 months, which is possible. But that was not my goal. I wanted to build habits that were long term. So I would hit my tree every day. After the 30 days, I would hit my tree more often than I used to before because I built those foundations, and I keep hitting that tree. And then you'd be surprised. Like now everybody's like, wow, Dami, you look so great. Wow, Dami, you look so good. But it's like, it took me 2 years ago. I planted the seeds 2 years ago to have the result of today. So don't be discouraged. If you are telling yourself that you don't plan because you're a go with the flow type of person, really look at yourself and wonder, is it because you believed a lie, that you are, you're just not where you should be, you're failing. I tried to do these things before and it didn't work. Maybe you just had the wrong perspective and the wrong skills. But you can be an investor today. You can start afresh today and begin to use the seeds of your time to invest into your future now. Little by little, moment by moment, axe to tree by axe to tree. Okay, so the last myth that you are believing that is not allowing you to manage your time well and will not help you see the results that you want to see is, I only make time when I feel inspired. So when I'm inspired, then that's when I'm going to do this, whatever this or it is for you. This is the truth. If something is important to you, you will make the time for it. We've heard that, we know that, but let it really sink in. Think about it like this. If you are dating somebody and they only make time for you when they feel like it, do you really think you're in a relationship? Or does the relationship have the potential to grow into something deeper, more long lasting, more fruitful? Does it? If it's only when I feel like inspired or that I remember you, then I want to talk to you. If that's the type of relationship that you may be in right now, baby, you got to go, okay? Because we make time for what's important to us. I know a couple that live 9 hours away from each other. And the guy will intentionally, at least every other month, take time to drive down and see his girlfriend. And it would amaze me. I'm like, when I realized how far he lived, I'm like, 9 hours away? That's a long time. That's a long drive to be doing that. Going here for 9 hours and then coming back, stay a certain amount of days. He had also lived in the same city she was in, or his family was in the same city, of course, so he'd visit family as well and stay with them. But he would make the time to see her. He was intentional about seeing her, even though there was a long distance. So then what does that say? You will make the time for things that are indeed important to you, that you find valuable to you. This is the thing. You may say that this is important to you, and you may talk about, and again, whatever it is, you may even talk about how much you desire to have it, to experience it, but you have not made time for it yet. And you will know what you value by your time and your money. What do you put your time and money towards? That is where you truly understand what you value. No matter what you say with your mind or, with your mouth, you realize that you value what you put your time and your money towards. So if you are saying, I value spending time, building relationships with friends and my spouse, my boyfriend, but you find yourself constantly doing something else, canceling plans, maybe the time you're supposed to be spending on TikTok or something, then can you really say that you value building relationships with the people that you love in your life? Is that really a value? If that you're saying that's important to you, right? Or another example is, let's say your relationship with God. You understand how important it is to have a time set apart for not just out of religious activity, but because you realize you need it more than you think you do for you. And it's not to appease God. It's just you need it to help you fuel your day. You may say that you value that time, but is it true? People are scared, or I've spoken to women before, and it's like, I'll say like, oh, put your quiet time on your calendar. And it's like, no, I want to only go when I feel led and all these things. And it's like, all right, but you do realize that there is an enemy that doesn't want you to spend time with God. So he will let you look at your own feelings and emotions or your own flesh will override what you know to do. But to help you combat that, you can put a plan to action. You can say that, okay, on my schedule from this time to this time, I'm going to just, whatever happens at that time is what's going to happen. But me and God are going to spend time together. And then eventually you won't have to always write it down. It will become a habit. But there's no problem in creating a discipline when it comes to having that quiet time. So when it comes to this mindset of I only make time when I feel inspired, when you learn good time management skills, you can now become a person who is not moved solely on feelings, but actively makes a plan. You're not swayed by just how your feelings are, because if we're honest, I don't feel like doing a lot of things. I don't feel like doing a lot of things. And that's just what happens. We're more comfortable doing things that we don't want to do. But then there are things that we know are good for us, but we can actually make more enjoyable that will push us to want to do things. And that's actually something that I talk about in the workbook, how to make the necessaries of life feel more enjoyable. But we can be people who actively plan. You can become a woman who is not moved just by emotions when it comes to doing something, but you actively make a plan. You can retrain yourself to be a action taker, because as we said before, faith without works is dead. So the works have to align with the belief that you have for something to come to pass. So those are the different myths. You think that you function best under stress. I get things done better when I'm under pressure. It didn't really rhyme the second time, but it did the first time. Second one is I have a strict schedule and each hour plan to be productive, but we all know that prioritization is the key. Third thing that you need to let go is I'm good with the flow. I'm a go with the flow type of person. I don't like planning, but we know if you just hit on certain habits or certain actions daily towards what it is you want and be able to slowly progress over time, to be a beginner, to start simply, then we know that what you're looking for to achieve can actually happen. And the last thing is I only make time when I feel inspired, but you can retrain your mind to become somebody who's not solely moved by feelings alone, but actively makes a plan, and a plan that works for you. So again, if your systems are working for you with time management, share in the comments what you're working. But for you that's listening, you are trying to turn a new leaf. 2025, you are determined that this is my year of transformation. This is my year of becoming who I believe I'm called to be. And you've seen that how you are actively managing your time right now is just not going to work. You are seeing the results. You've seen the cost. Maybe you've lost opportunities. Maybe you have not been able to become who you've envisioned, and it's taking longer than you thought. But it's because you're easily distracted and I have all these things going on, but you're deciding that I want to get things on track. Well, today is the day, my friend. Today is the day to make a decision that the past, the lack of hope, the lack of maybe knowledge of what to do was what was in the past. And today I'm going to be adopting a new way of doing things, a new identity, a new way of moving forward in my life. You can see very clearly who it is, the woman that you want to become. So I want to invite you to purchase my workbook called Time on Your Terms. And it is basically a workbook that's going to help you walk through the strategies that I've personally used that helps me to live a full life, even while working. So having time to create this podcast, having time to get into new hobbies like being a ballerina on a random Monday, Tuesday night, to being able to stay fit, to have lost weight and kept the weight off, to make sure I eat well, and to really just continue to move forward in the ways that I find valuable for my life. If this is something that's interesting to you, then I invite you to have that workbook. You can find the workbook on the luxurystateofmind.com website /product. So go on the website, you'll find it there in the product section. And then also you'll find the link in the description of this video and of this podcast. So this workbook is not a tool that's going to help you become that girl. I'm not interested in, becoming that girl or the it girl. This workbook is going to teach you how to align your personal values to plan your time. So we talked about, your values, what that looks like. How do you know that you value something? Time and money are big indicators. Well, we are going to help you in that workbook align your personal values, which you actually value, with how you plan your time. And this will be the fuel of how you are able to be a better manager of your time, because who you envision, who you see yourself being is what will fuel your time management. But we're going to break down different strategies on how you can do that. So if you're interested in moving life forward for 2025, definitely get that workbook. And if you are like, girl, look, I need transformation like quickly. I have been struggling with being more disciplined. I've been struggling with being consistent. I don't have vision for what I want. I don't even know how to plan, but I know I want to change. I know I'm willing and ready to make a change. Well, I invite you to also work with me one-on-one. You'll have the opportunity to work with me for 8 weeks, and we will dive into the process of how, not just like, oh, you'll just get some information, but I will work with you personally, one-on-one, so that you can start seeing changes in your life quickly. You'll start to see that time management is actually not that hard. We'll work together to make sure that whatever it is that you want to see is in the process and the beginnings of happening. And so you can get results quickly. So if you're interested in working one-on-one, you can look in the description, find the link, my calendar link, and set up a time for us to speak, and set up some time on my calendar, and we can get it on and popping. Okay? So thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you find it valuable. Let me know in the comments what you enjoyed. What did you pick up? What was interesting to you? And then again, you can check that workbook on luxurystateofmind.com, and you can schedule a one-on-one call with me in my description box, or in the description box of this episode. All right. I'll speak to you another time. Bye. Thank you for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, please share with a friend and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also view the full episode on YouTube. Thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you on the next episode.